Hello, one. Hello, all. Welcome to the September 6th through 8th edition of Show Business. I am CP.
And I am Lindsey of My Two Cents of Nonsense. Hello and welcome.
Que paso? I'm Jaime Fuego from Infuegotainment and more notably, The Horror Show.
Yeah, more notably. Okay. All right.
Bigger audience.
So yeah, right into the numbers. We were pretty close, guys, last week. I don't know if anybody went over 90, and of course my air conditioner kicks on right now. Thank God we're not Zencastering this. But it chapter 2 pulls in 91 million for first place this week, and a steep drop off to second. Angel has fallen with 6 million. Good Boys in third with 5 million.
Still hanging around. I love it.
Yeah, they're all just kind of, mingling. But at that stage, you're like a couple of 100,000 apart from each other. Good Boys with 5. In fourth was Lion King with 4 million. In fifth was Hobbs and Shaw with 4 million.
Boo. I'm still angry about that movie.
What, Hobbs and Shaw?
Yeah. Wasted my goddamn time.
Oh, you were expecting something incredible. I apologize.
I was at least, mild amusement at the very least. I couldn't even get that until 2 hours in. Anyway.
Yeah, that's a long time to wait for something to kick off, I'll be honest. So 2 hours, you add another 45 minutes, that's what you got for this weekend.
Segway.
So it chapter 2, I guess we'll give brief summaries / how we felt, and then we can dive deep into it, because I know, Fuego, you're the Stephen King guy. You're all over this, so I guess we'll lead with you and how, compared to the book, compared to the original 1990. Do I call it a TV series or a TV movie? I don't know what you're technically supposed to call that John Ritter thing.
Yeah, I still call it an event series, kind of,
Okay.
because that was the big thing in the late 80s, early 90s with King. I mean, we had the Tommyknockers, we had the Langoliers, it was like him and Kuntz were almost very directly competing at the time for
Dean Kuntz,
people's TV attention and stuff. Ugh. Dean Kuntz, not a favorite, although I do like the Odd Thomas stuff, and Affleck was the bomb in Phantoms, so I cannot downplay that. But it's this was really hoping for a little tiny bit more than it actually made, and yet a lot of people are saying that it didn't quite touch the numbers of the previous film because there was more just mixed word of mouth. It wasn't like pretty much praised across the board like the previous one was.
Yeah, hold that thought, though, because we have stats that are pretty interesting to that argument, but go on.
Yeah, so a little over 90, I want to say 91 and some change compared to
91.003 or something. So
yeah,
123.
Yeah, exactly. For me and also Marsha Parker, both of us on the Horror Show being two big book enthusiasts, we actually preferred this version. We liked the jumping back and forth aspect that happens throughout the entirety of the book, in single chapters, no less sometimes. The de-aging and the detuning of voices and stuff was pretty obvious in a few scenes specifically, but as a whole, it was kind of a bonkers Nightmare on Elm Street-esque, kind of funhouse of wackiness. It didn't take itself as seriously at times as I was hoping. But then there were other times, like with Bill Hader's Richie, where they went totally against stuff in the book and stuff actually in an early draft of the script that Cary Fukunaga did. So it was interesting to see them returning to that and bringing that plot point back. But yeah, I loved it, but I know most people did not. Most Cecil specifically, he enjoyed it a lot. He said he did prefer it more so on the second viewing, but as a whole, it seems to be, not divisive. It's not one of those, but at least divisive as far as like the levels of adoration. Most people seem to really have dug it, though. So,
yeah. Lindsey.
Yeah, I said it on Twitter. I think I like it. I liked it more than I disliked it, but still kind of halfway through, I was like, can I go home now?
Yeah,
How much?
Yeah, me too.
How much more of this is there? How many? I thought we were past the clown scares them all individually. Oh, there's another movie of the clown scaring them individually, and then they come together at the okay. It's not bad. Like I liked a lot of them. Like I dug the expanding on Bill Hader's character. I thought that was interesting. I especially because if it wasn't in the book, I didn't know that. Interesting choice to do it.
Clear your throat, bro.
Yeah, sorry. Let me drink some water here. Back
All right, so yeah, I'll echo Lindsey's sentiment.
Show business ASMR right there. Okay. But yeah, I just you could have slimmed it. You could have trimmed it down. You could have, because like, I, unless I'm mistaken, Ben didn't even get a token story, did he? I know he had the thing, but like, it's just weird that his character just kind of disappeared for a huge stretch of it, unless I'm mistaken.
Oh, yeah. I don't want to get too deep into spoilers, but yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right.
He didn't have a big point of emphasis like Bevy and Richie probably having the two most effective aspects in that. As much as I love the actor from, I think he was on The Wire. He was also in Sinister, and his name eludes me.
Yeah, James Ronson. He was so good. Yeah.
I thought he was like second to Richie as far to Hader as far as just the quality of acting. Those two guys really brought it, and yet somebody like McAvoy, who I expected a lot from, I didn't really feel like he brought it as much as I was expecting. Was his
accent really strange to anybody else but me? I really noticed James McAvoy's accent where I was just like, what is he doing there? I really wanted, like, there was points where I would lean over to Emily and be like, he might have been doing stuff with glass at the same time as this, because some of his accents felt like really forced, like he was really putting on the American accent, and it kind of came through in some scenes. It was just like, dude, what are you doing? You're really good at this. Why not here?
Yeah, there's certain overseas actors that can really do it well, and others where it just kind of sticks out like a sore thumb.
It wasn't the entire movie either. It was just like, that must have been a weird day. I don't know what happened there, but
I think my favorite example is
in and out. Yeah.
No, I think my favorite one is Ready Player One, Simon Pegg. Like I wouldn't have recognized him as Simon Pegg because he just didn't look like himself. But there's like, I know Simon Pegg's in this movie and that voice doesn't sound right. Who are you, actor? And that's what kind of gave it away for me.
So I basically have everything that Lindsey has to say. Some of you got a sneak peek of Emily and I's vlog, which is on Patreon. Those of you who caught it, congrats for free sneak peek. But we had the same. At least I had the same sentiments. A little long. For a movie that length, it felt weird and contradictory because we go back to the children, and then we have this like reintroduction to the adults. And something that bothered me was, once they were all back together, it was like nothing had changed, or not directly so, but within 10 minutes they were all like joking back and forth with each other. Right. And they're supposed to be what, 40, 41, 42, 43?
There-ish, early 40s for sure. Yeah. And by the way, Chat has
30s,
pointed out.
I mean, yeah.
I was wrong. Chat pointed out that Ben had the scene in the locker.
Oh, thank you, Steve.
Yeah.
I mean, it just wasn't as memorable as the stuff that happened to Bev, and then the stuff with Eddie and the Leper, and Richie and Mr. Bunyan and such. But
yeah. So a lot of it felt it felt strange. Like first of all, for reality's sake, that this is something that like just is a pet peeve more than something that like I can blame on the film. Is if they've spent 27 years apart, somebody would have changed drastically, and I'm not just talking about weight with one person. 13-year-old me is somebody that I don't know if any of you guys would recognize and be able to get along with, let alone me. So, to have them all like get together and, okay, so one of them lost weight. Spoiler, sorry. And within a
man,
couple,
she's like a twig now.
Your hair is winter fire.
It's great hair, but goddamn, Jessica, please eat a sandwich. Like, no, I'm kidding. Jessica was beautiful. Anyway,
and I was gonna say, I still wanted Bryce Dallas Howard all this time. I felt like she was a little bit more, but she's even skinnier, or at least she was until she put on a couple of those LDs. But that's not me to criticize about. So.
See, Cody in the chat. Cody puts it perfectly the way I would put it. Felt like a movie where they left all the deleted scenes in. There's a lot of. Go ahead.
No, I agree.
No, continue.
Yeah.
It's stuff where it's like, all right, so is the first movie necessary if you're just going to reintroduce us to these characters and then go back to it, and then it was like we're introduced, they all know each other, but then we had to like build relationships again. Like, okay, so like Emily brought it up, the whole postcard, the poem thing, got like a lot of play in this movie, and it's like, we know this. Like you can show it and talk about it and cover it quickly, but dude, you did this the first time. What is this? Why are we spending so much time on this? Perhaps it's a thing in the book. Fuego,
this is where my adoration of the property, the movie wasn't long enough, and that's why they're talking about the super 6.5 hour cut that they're actually trying to set apart some time to film even additional scenes that were in various like drafts of the script. There's still a bunch of deleted scenes from both portions that they didn't include. So it's an 1,100 page book. I mean, we're
looking at 5 hours. Plus,
if they'll watch 10 hours of something like House on Haunted Hill or whatever, I mean, why not, cover a similar approach here? But sitting in a theater for that long, I can attest, it's tough. So
I would totally watch like a 6 hour cut, like both movies together with even more stuff kind of cut out, and maybe like the ending of the first movie blended into the beginning of this one in some weird way to kind of like blend the time. But it'd be better at home than in the theater.
Red Letter Media put it really well.
Oh boy, I didn't watch it because I couldn't bear to.
The end of the first one is just a lesser end of the sequel. It's like I didn't realize it until they said it, and I was just like, man, right on. Without giving away the ending, it's. They're very similar. What happens at the end of one kind of happens at the end of two. Just a little bit more drastic, a little bit more to deal with.
Well, I mean, and the movie does kind of. It makes sense that this one, it's a little bigger, the ending this time, because they're trying to get the defeating of it to stick more. So you know what I mean? Like I got it, but I did. You're right. I did kind of get like, why don't you guys remember how you beat it? Like maybe are your memories still messed up? Do you not remember how you beat it last time? Shouldn't this be coming back to you a little bit here?
And is that it? Take a shot every time somebody says it. Is that right. It for?
Oh, you'll be dead.
Without talking about the movie, is that it for Pennywise for good, or because like
no
you would think,
way, not after this profitability, not after all of the interludes that happened in the book, because in the book there's these segments that it's basically Mike Hanlon's diaries, and they're called this interlude 1, interlude 2, whatever. They basically very briefly hint at them at times, especially with some of the newspaper clippings, like, okay, this was where the Easter egg hunt and this factory burned down where they were having it. There was, there's a bunch of other ones too. There's in 1905 where a lumberjack goes crazy and kills a bunch of other people in a bar. There's another one where there's a mobster shootout. There's all these different bits, and the reason for that is because with every cycle there has to be a mass sacrifice, but that doesn't mean there weren't a bunch of other little murders and consumption stuff that transpires before and after. It usually lasts around a year for each of those 27-year cycles. And so, I mean, I think I contended this maybe last week where I was like, I think they should have really done a Derry series instead of a Castle Rock series, because there is so much they could just mine and expand upon and do stuff with.
And you can allude to Pet Sematary too, because apparently they're within spitting distance of each other. I just want to mention Dr. Dead.
Well, everything's in Maine.
Yeah.
Except for The Shining. So there you go.
Oh, that's right. I always forget about that.
And a couple others, but
Dr. Dead in the YouTube chat says, I can't stick around, I'm going to watch tomorrow AM, but let me say this. First of all, let me say this. good to have you back, and welcome back to Movie Talk. He says, a rather bold thing, the miniseries better than the films.
I mean, it's hard to beat Tim Curry. It really is.
But that's it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, but he's so good. It goes from like a 3 or 4 up to like a 12 when he's on screen. That thing, like.
I will 100% contend that Brandis is every bit better than the kid they had play Bill in the younger bits. I thought Bill was, and kid from Sequest and Neverending Story 2 and a few other things. I thought he was a terrific Big Bill, at least in the kids sections. We're not going to talk much about the older Big Bill, but nonetheless, I felt Bill was very underwhelming in both portions of the new adaptation. That's just me.
In the chat, they are firing off about the CG. Somebody brought it up. I don't remember who it was, but I saw ripping off The Thing and doing it with CGI, not cool. Or something to that effect.
This is a deliberate homage. I mean, hey, The Thing ripped its own self off, so I don't know. I was wondering if that was going to be the only spider we saw, and sure enough.
I thought the homage was cute, but it went on for too long. But I did like the scene because I know the kid whose head that is. He studies at the same acting school I do. Wyatt. He's a good kid. He's popping off too. Good for him.
You're like the D-list. Cecil with the name dropping of the. I know the guy who was the third guy in that one scene. If you pause it, I'm friends with him.
If you go back and watch Star Trek Into Darkness, the girl in the bar that Kirk hits on is a friend of mine, Melissa. Yeah.
And now I'm thinking of the scene in Can't Hardly Wait where he's like, "Yo, so my brother's sister's roommate's cousin knows a guy who knows a scout in L.A." And he's like, "No way."
That's awesome.
Yeah. So. Homosexuality, is that a big deal in the book, Fuego?
In a different fashion, Patrick Hockstetter and Henry Bowers have a thing at one point, and then Patrick, who we saw killed by the kids in the drain in a completely different fashion in the first film. He gets his, but I mean, he's probably the most vile human character in the entire book, even more so than Bowers and any of the other bullies. He's one of Bowers' cronies, but I mean, it's book spoilers. It's almost 30-something-year-old book at this point. He kills his little brother as a toddler. He tortures small animals and just throws them in a refrigerator in the dump to die, and checks back on them after a few days, and then a bunch of leeches tear him to pieces. It's Pennywise taking a kind of form of that, and it's one of the grossest, most grisly bits in the entire book. But
the movie opens with a bit of hate crime on two homosexual characters, and then Bill Hader's character, for the most part, I don't know if it's an allusion or just a direct implication that he was holding back that he was gay, or maybe I'm reading into that, but I thought that was his secret.
Yeah, I felt it was very obvious that they were implying that, especially having read that first rewrite of Carrie's 2017 script that I mentioned, or script that turned out to be the 2017 film. So but the Adrian Mellon bit that opens up the film, that's like, it was. I hate to say it was great to see that, but because it's horrible and grisly and all this other stuff, but it was really fulfilling, I guess, to see that, because it's what starts the cycle anew, for this new 27-year bit, and I felt it was done very effectively. So
yeah, so my again, this is just moviegoer nitpicking. That type of like that opening is brutal, and R-rated horror film, cool. That's realistic. That stuff kind of would happen with a modern day bully to that effect. My problem, this is with 2017 more than anything. It really isn't relevant to what we're talking about now. The bully, when it came to the kids, there's what appears to be one black kid in town. And, it doesn't get serious. I mean, sure, he gets bullied, but you know damn well in that situation, especially in the 80s, certain words would fly, certain, it would be a lot more difficult.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, they had no problem dropping the homosexual F-bomb. They did it a couple of times.
They
Why
said the
not?
big one too, didn't they? Right, like FAG. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the homosexual F-bomb.
The other F word. Yeah.
And
like
and
you don't see that very often, so it's cool that they went there. But,
but and it takes place now. Yeah. If it were the 80s and you're bullying a minority in a town where it's really, really mostly white, you would think that N-bomb would get dropped or something close to that or whatever. Again, this is like petty nitpick, like real world stuff, but like it just bothered me. We're like, this opening scene's like, oh wow, look, they're going for it here, and it's just like, wait, it's
well, this is the problem with the movie. It's so long.
Sorry.
No. Go ahead. Which stuff is in the book?
Well, I mean, the N word is definitely prevalent in the book, but then again, it's back in the 50s, right. So that's, I mean, maybe it was like shied away from because of the fact that it's a different, it's 30 years jumped forward and everything, but it's definitely both the like anti-gay and like just racism stuff was really prevalent throughout the book, at least. So
it just felt strange, like because I only noticed that because we literally just watched chapter 1 the night before, and I remember thinking, well, it's weird that the bullying is this guy is such a dick, but they're not going to that length with an R-rated horror. And then sure enough, we opened chapter 2 with with the homosexual equivalent of over the top, too much. So I don't know.
Well, maybe it's like tying into like the same way that like Stranger Things like plays with homosexual themes, and like they dance into it but then dance out. But it's like prevalent, but it's not prevalent, and it's going off the same kind of nostalgia bent. Maybe it is an interesting comment, but maybe like it's. I'm agreeing that it's interesting that they don't go there, because there is a lot of bullying of Mike in the first one, and initially like they drive up him on the alley and almost run him over. That's a pretty big deal.
I mean, you want us to hate that character? Hammer it home. I mean, if you're gonna do it in 2, if you're gonna go to the homosexual equivalent of the N-word, why not do that in part 1? Again, this is perhaps not a discussion because we're not talking about part 2 right now, but.
Well, one thought I had during this movie is I feel like the people who made this were like, wait, they wanted to make the first one, and then like that's it, I'm done. Yeah. But then they kind of got roped into making the second one. Like maybe they didn't want to tell the adult stories. I'm not. I don't know. I'm coming off as hard on this movie, or like maybe not caring too much. But there's a lot in it I liked. It's just. It just needs tightening
Wu-Tang
up.
Clan, man. $dollar bills, y'all. If they had any aversion to not making the sequel, money talks, bullshit walks. So.
Well, you might as well. You might as well Hunger Games it and just make this 4 or 5 movies. I mean.
Oh, that trend's dead. We're not going to see that again for some time.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if they were going to do it, they shouldn't have done it theatrically. They should have done this as like an event series on, Netflix or Hulu or Amazon or something like that. Not had to DH the kids, film the entire thing in one shot. But that's because they didn't know how successful part 1 was going to be. And when it just destroyed and became the highest grossing R-rated horror movie of all time, they're like, well, of course we're doing this.
What a novel idea. Hollywood not properly planning for something to succeed. Wow.
Yeah,
how strange that they weren't prepared for something to do well and didn't think ahead. Oh, welcome to the 80s, everyone. Man, the way movies used to be made.
The way they're still being made sometimes.
It still took the entire industry off guard 2 years ago with how much money this actually made.
That brings, I guess, relevance to the it information, which
we want information. Who are you?
Fuego brought up the slight disappointment from the domestic pull-in on chapter 2, which was 91 million. The first chapter made 123 opening weekend, But here's the funny number. Worldwide, in Chapter 1, it made 189 million. This Chapter 2, 185. So it's only 4 million off the mark worldwide opening weekend with this sequel. And the original pulled in 700 million total gross. So with Chapter 2 only 4 million under pace of the original, where's the ceiling, guys?
I think that's kind of the Transformer factor in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I mean, just like the whole visual aspect, and that's what foreign audiences care more about. And I mean, I don't know. I think negative word of mouth really hurt the North American market more so than anything else, because of the fact that when I saw that it made like over 10 on Thursday night previews alone.
36 Friday, I think.
Yeah, and then like 36, 37 on Friday, I was like, this is probably going to break 100 million, even if I wasn't initially thinking it was going to. And then I'm thinking, friends told other friends, it's really long. I like the kids better. I really think the social media and the word of mouth hurt this film, and that's why the numbers petered off over the course of the rest of the weekend. So,
how did you guys feel about the balance of comedy?
I thought it was fun. I like James Ronson and Bill Hader playing off each other was great the entire time. I liked the way it bounced back and forth. I like how like the nature of this IP is constantly going from horror to comedy to horror to comedy. Like my favorite scene in the whole thing is the one of the girl under the bleachers with just Pennywise, and it's like not even anything too creepy happening. They're just having a conversation, but because we know things that she doesn't, it's terrifying as hell, even though it's cute and adorable and kind of funny. Like that's the genius of
Is it adorable?
Kind of. Like,
he's.
I mean, if we
trying
didn't know
to be deceiving,
but if we didn't know that he was about to kill her, it'd be an adorable little moment.
It was maybe the most effective kill in the entire film for me because of the fact that, I mean, it's on par with Adrian Mellon at the beginning of the movie, but just because of the fact that it's him killing a kid again, and just the way that he tried to appeal to her by, well, they make fun of me too, and you know, blah blah blah, and then he bites her birthmark off, and you're like, oh my god, okay, not in the book, obviously, but you know, neither was the other kill of the skateboard kid. Skateboard kid, spoilers,
that was a good one too.
Lives in the book, you know, so
oh, does it? Oh.
yeah. Him and Bill have an interesting little rapport going on throughout the, you know, at least adult portion stuff. So
I'm forgetting skateboard kid.
The
House of Mirrors kill.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. Which, by the way, looked a lot. Am I wrong in thinking this? Looked a lot like the original. What's the kid's name? You'll Float Too. The kid.
Georgie.
The little
Georgie.
brother. Yeah, that kid looked a hell of a lot like Georgie.
I mean, I think that was intentional, though, in order to really. Yeah, he was trying to trigger Bill by giving him. Although that's a huge plot hole in this movie. I don't know if we should get into specifics about what the plot is, but
27 years
talked
later,
about this film like 4 or 5 different videos over the course of the last week. So
you got to talk about movies this weekend, you jerk.
Okay.
No, go ahead, Lindsey. Open the door. There's not. I mean,
every
Goldfinch
perspective
and
has been
Hustlers
good.
this weekend. I don't know.
Pseudo spoiler warning.
Yeah.
There's a good chunk of this movie that's dedicated to each of the main characters finding their token.
Oh, yeah.
And when it comes for Bill's token, and these tokens are needed to kill Pennywise, he gets his token from Pennywise. Pennywise basically hands it to him. The only reason Pennywise dies in this movie is because he literally handed Bill the key to kill him. For no reason.
Maybe he thought he was stronger. Like, I don't know. It's really,
No,
I did have to give some serious justification about the way that they finished this movie off without spoiling it. I had a lot of reservations about the way they finished this movie in comparison with the book. Not that the book ending is perfect or anything like that, but once again, you know, I still wonder what could have been. And, you know, shout out to Cody Leach, obviously, because of the fact that he was like, wasn't Fukunaga like off the project because they wouldn't give him enough money to film the entire thing back to back and do it in New York or, you know, where to. And that's that is exactly what happened. He wanted to film everything in one foul swoop, and they were uncertain about giving him that extent of money, and so he pieced out on the project. And maybe that's why we have an odd, at times disjointed, despite being the same creative team and everything. So
yeah, Cody's got a 45-minute version of a review, which I have yet to properly set aside time for, but I might listen to it while I do stuff later. Cody.
Oh, same, man. I mean, I hold his opinion in high regard. So
yeah, not often you see 45-minute reviews from fresh movies.
Dude.
Yep.
Like, whatever he's got to say definitely has weight
around here. In the YouTube chat, he says, no, the tokens didn't do shit. Mike lied. They had to bully him to death.
In spoiler territory.
So funny.
I've been hearing a lot about that, so I have to watch that one actually.
Hilarious, man.
The point of the tokens was to, again, spoilers. If you don't want him, get out. The point of the tokens was to get Pennywise into some kind of physical form so that he could be killed. He was metaphysical up until the point where they did the stuff in the thing and the light into darkness and all that. Or at least that's how I interpret it. Maybe they could have done that the entire movie. Like, that's why I think in the first one they weren't able to kill it, because they didn't do all that, and so they hurt it, but it was able to recover. And I think now with that thing and the tokens, it's able to be permanent. I don't know. Now I'm trying to defend the thing that I just said as a plot hole. Who knows? Like, I like this movie, but I don't think this movie wants me to like it. It's a very complicated relationship.
It's just one big ass movie at the end of the day to me, and I know everybody, like more people tend to like the kids stuff, and that makes a lot more sense to me, because if it's a creature that primarily takes the form of something to kill kids because their meat is the sweetest and all that other stuff, I mean, if you're a child, that perspective is way more frightening. And yet still, for me, the scariest thing when I was growing up and I saw the 90 version was Voices in the Drain. It wasn't the clown, it was just the idea of dead kids in the sewer, or their spirits or whatever. So
right. So that was one of the things that I thought was a bit of a I don't know, plot hole. I don't know what you would clarify. The opening scene, that the homosexual guy who gets beaten near to death
actually
is not a child.
I got there late.
Spoiler. Reverse
it's
spoiler?
fine. It was spoiler for me forever ago, because I just read it up online. The theater I was at was having some technical difficulties, so like they didn't even play trailers. They just started the movie once they could start the movie. And so I missed a few minutes. I came in as Bill was on set, getting the call from Mike.
Okay.
How much do you think?
Which was really funny in my estimation.
Yeah, it seemed like a really funny scene. I was upset that I wanted to see how that fake horror movie was filmed. Actually, that looked like fun. How far in was that? Like, did I miss too much? What do you guys think?
That was after the Adrian Mellon scene, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Was he the first one Mike called Bill, or was there someone before that?
No, I think it was the first.
I think he was the first.
Okay. I had a feeling that's what. Okay, so I didn't miss too much. Okay.
Well, there's just a funny bit in the pitch meeting that they did on Screen Rant, without getting into too much detail. They're like, oh, so the screenwriter's the hero, and the guy pitching it, who's the screenwriter, is like, yeah, I'm the hero. You gotta get a great, handsome guy cast as me, and so on. It's very funny.
That's awesome.
But so wait a minute. Back to my inquiry. The guy that Lindsey didn't see die is not a child.
True, but there's lots of other people. I mean, that the entity's preference is children, but it kills others. Like perhaps if not readily available or whatever. Because I mean, even in the book, it's like, okay, the mobster shootout scene, the Bunyan scene, lumberjack scene that I mentioned earlier. Like, not everything happens within the context of just children, but it is implied that is what it prefers. It's young sweet meat. When it's seasoned, children are more fearful. They're more easily scared, and when what it's about to consume is scared, that's where the meat has the best flavor, so to speak. So
Cody, why is Cody not here, by the way? Speaking of CG.
Hey guys, I'm Cody Leach.
Is he that high pitched? I don't think so.
I'm sorry, that's horrible.
Oh wait, you're all a mess. So somebody read his thing in the.
Is it the speaking of CG bit?
Yeah, because it is a valid point that.
Yeah, so he says, speaking of CG, yeah, I'm still bitching, and he has every right to, obviously. How much more effective would the old lady scene have been if the old lady came stomping out to Bev instead of the effed up video game character? Yeah, that's the thing. I mean,
With
the
those
CG was really with those big old floppy bazoombas kind of going down. Also, how about video game reference? Why was there a Mortal Kombat machine that didn't come out in '92?
Yeah, that was weird.
That's nitpicking, obviously, but
no, I definitely noticed that too. Don't worry.
Emily brought the same thing up. It follows that, and that was a woman who was in a muumuu. That woman was in like a pajamas. If you remember the old woman that follows. In It Follows down the high school hallway, she's freaky looking. I mean, old people naked is pretty scary enough, but I don't know why you needed to CG it. You could have. There's something about married it on the. Didn't have to show her actually nude.
That actually would have been great.
A prosthetic, like you really could have. Why lean on?
Well, the implication is that she's been dead and she's rotting in there. That's why, it's so hot.
She got some big boobs for.
Just have a naked lady
aspect. I mean, they wanted something huge, and I think that was maybe a callback to the whole projector scene in the first film, where Pennywise manifesting itself as something huge and bigger than life is a lot more frightening, maybe scale wise. But
those boobs. Yeah,
it did look. It did look very silly, although it was jarring because I was just not expecting it.
Well, it's such an annoying tease too, because you're constantly what is this old lady doing in the background? And she's like dancing naked and doing and it's I want to see the payoff for that. I don't want to see this whole new thing coming out of completely nowhere. It's what they sort of sidestepped with the end by having a combination final boss of what everyone didn't want it to be, but everyone wanting it to be. I don't know. I'm losing my train of thoughts here. This movie is frustrating, but
Cassie says the lady in the bathtub scene in The Shining.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, same. Samesies. No CG there.
Oh my God! I'm a genius. My brain just started working finally.
Monkey want a nana?
Give me that. I want all that nana, bro. So in The Shining. The Shining, you see very little of her, and it's terrifying because you see so little. In Ready Player One, you see a lot of her, so it's not as terrifying, and it's more fun and upbeat. And so by having, seeing it in the background, it's scary because we're not seeing her. But then when she's this big blah, 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 blah monstrosity, it's suddenly Ready Player One, and it's not as scary. It's just kind of like a thing you got to deal with.
Horror isn't in the payoff. The horror is in the tension that leads to it.
Truly. Build it up, man. And, I actually have to agree with Mother Mayhem where she's Bev's scene from the miniseries was much more effective for me. I personally agree as well because of the fact that, I don't know, I mean, there was just so much... I actually don't dislike most of the adult cast, and as much as Chastain was just there and was just okay, it was really her and McAvoy that I found more disappointing than anticipated with the with the effectiveness, and so yeah.
Yeah, I had a feeling this was going to be a Bill Hader, James Ronson stealing the show fest, and I'm very happy that's what it was. James needs to be in more movies.
How does Hader not steal the show? I mean, whether it's Barry or even was he also in the one Skeleton Twins? If I'm not mistaken,
that's a great movie.
Underrated movie, man. Really good
movie.
Listen, you better be ready to be a little depressed, but it's
I
dark,
like those
dark
movies,
funny.
though.
It's dark funny, yeah.
That scene where he's doing the cross-dressing Halloween thing with her, and he's just owning. It's so good. It's just
so weird movie.
An underrated movie.
Boy, I love it.
You got to be in the right mood because he opens up suicidal, and he's kind of depressed throughout the movie. But
sounds like a great time.
Well, yeah, I mean, as somebody who's experienced similar feelings, and uses comedy to overcompensate for that, or to kind of counteract those feelings. It is funny. You just got to, I can imagine somebody who doesn't really have any problems watching that movie and being like, this is too depressing and gray.
Cody Leach makes a very good point in the chat here.
Why are you not in here?
I know, but I wasn't going to bring him up anymore. No offense, Cody, but this this one bugged the hell out of me because I've worked. I
did not like the CG in the cookie scene either, dude. I was legit bothered by it.
I mean, it was unfortunate, but my thing is, if there's that many people well, that many people screaming and like smashing a chair on a table and all that. No, the management would be in there, the cops would be there, the restaurant would be emptying. There'd be some hero trying to run in. Like they downplayed that so much, and I get it. It's a movie. They wanted the comedy, but no, I am sorry. I have worked in several restaurants. Those people would be kicked out and talking to the cops.
Yeah,
surely.
Yeah, or having to explain or pay for it, or like it's just
they would be the biggest tip of their lives.
Yeah, isn't the punchline, can we just have the check or something like that? And it's just like, yeah, I don't think that's the way it's gonna go. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm freaking out on the kid too, which was like Skateboard Kid, if I remember as well, right?
I did like that. I like that they set him up early and then he paid off. But that's especially because I could see the payoff of that. I knew it was going to be a comedy joke, not a comedy. You know what I'm trying to say?
As opposed to a
terrifying joke. I knew it was going to be a joke about him being a comedian from his set or something like that. But it was.
This is one of those water drinks.
I love my meat steak with my dinner meal.
Oh boy. So, yeah. Did we give scores? Did we give scores out of 5-10? I like 5 because that's letterbox. But
yeah, I mean 5 is usually what I use as well for in Fuegotainment. So I mean this one for me was 4 out of 5, so it would be like a certified Fuego film, but it's not in the 4.5 to 5 range or anything like that. It was
all right, so you're not crazy.
It's a strong 4. I mean, I still had a lot of reservations about certain aspects of it, but I found so much more as a lover of the book to enjoy. But I don't know. I just think of it as one big movie, which is why I want the crazy supercut, and that's why I did a Hale episode about it a couple days ago, and that's what I'm keeping my fingers firmly crossed for.
So say that they do a supercut, and even if it's just glowing 1 and 2 together, as a film, if you now glue them 2 together as one film, isn't it repetitive?
Oh yeah,
with character arcs
but it's deliberately repetitive. It's deliberate in that aspect because of the fact that King wanted. King is big about the whole the Wheel of Ka and all this things are cyclical. Life is cyclical. We encounter so many of the same scenarios and whatever. Maybe it's an excuse for lazy writing. I don't know, but
how many writers are in his stuff again?
Yeah, but he wanted those parallels between the kids and adults and stuff like that, and it comes out in lots of his other work. It's like, okay, you experienced the same fight grown up, and is it easier? Is it? I mean, it's still very similar, I guess.
It's poetry. It's like it rhymes.
It rhymes.
Hopefully it'll work.
Hopefully it'll work.
And it honestly does work for the most part. It really does. I just feel like they just needed to just snip it down. Just snips.
Yeah.
And less CGI. And more Officer So-and-so from Sinister. that's just me.
I just contend that most definitely we are going to get Skarsgård as Pennywise in some sort of prequel incarnation. I mean, in the Kingverse, though, in at least the book, they imply, I guess this is a spoiler, so maybe I should forewarn everybody. One of the biggest changes at the end of this is the fact that they still remember each other even after they've all left Derry. In the book, that is not the case. They still they leave and they forget, and there's this beautiful bittersweet aspect to the fact that they are already remembering each other's names and adult professions and all this other stuff. And they're like, why is that? Well, it's the power of Derry. There's still an evil presence and power in Derry, and it makes it seem even bigger than Pennywise. And there's even stuff in later books, like, in the Tommyknockers, they're like, there's laughing in the drains in Insomnia, which takes place in Derry. Yeah, in Insomnia, which also takes place in Derry. You see Mike Hanlon in the Insomnia book came out in 94, like almost a decade later, that there's still like people alluding to Pennywise lives. Somebody even spray paints it in Dreamcatcher, which came out in like 2000, 2001. So in the books, it implies that presence is still there and could come back.
That
but
guerrilla marketing, man.
Yeah. But in the movie, they're like, yeah, we can all remember because we actually killed it this time. And so that's where we're probably not going to get a sequel with old losers. We could most definitely get some backstory.
What was the budget? What was the budget on the sequel?
That's a good question.
I'll talk about my score. My score is a light 3. I'm almost with Skyman, who gave it a 2.8. I believe out of 5. I'm a light 3, a really heavy 2.5. Something that and going by the glued them together logic, something that again, this is just nitpicky for realism's sake. I would have liked for their fears to have changed. Like things that scared me when I was 13 don't scare me anymore. Now I'm afraid of getting sick or debt or, my wife leaving me, not what's in the basement. Like granted, it doesn't play into a horror movie, but what if, what if one of them was afraid of, I don't know, sharks and they played into that in the first one. But the second one, the guy's grown up and now he's not afraid of sharks anymore. He's afraid of, I don't know.
Bills!
Yeah, bills. And it's just, he gets phone calls from debt collectors and all this other shit. And like,
pay your bill or we'll steal your children and eat them.
Yeah, he goes to the ATM and he's like 6,000 in the negative. Just...
Pay me, fat boy.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be something like that, but if the characters evolved as well as their fears, and to see Pennywise either miss and use their old fears or adapt to their new fear, that would have been something that would have really redeemed a longer cut for me. Like I'm with you, Fuego. I'm tempted to watch 1 and 2 back to back, but I have a really stinky feeling, and I watched them only 24 hours apart. I got a funny feeling that I'm going to watch it and be like, yeah, this is a bit repetitive here, and get a little tired in the middle of the second one.
Actually, you saying that, CP, I suddenly, once this movie's on digital or Blu-ray or DVD or VHS or beta or whatever the crazy kids use these days, maybe I'll try and edit it into like one movie. So like Eddie running from the clown outside of the house with the leper is like playing alongside or like cutting in between him in the basement in this movie.
Wow. Okay.
That might be.
As long as you cut it to that stupid song that we had.
Oh, thank God! We can talk. Can we talk about that?
I was like legitimately no other bit in the entire film stuck out more like a sore thumb for me than that. I was completely perplexed. I was honestly a little mad. I didn't know what the hell was going on.
Dude, do you know what that reminded me of? You ever like edit something and forget to take a piece of audio out?
Yeah.
And then when you watch the video back, you're like, oh shit, I left the audio from that one thing in.
When you're like, I was just mucking around to see if it would be funny, and I forgot to take it back out. And oh my God, it ended up in the final edit. Wow. Not going to take it down now, but
or like you do a YouTube video and like there's black for 2 minutes and then there's like a little clip at the end. It's like one of those editor screw ups where it's just like, wait, what is this song? Why is this so loud? Why is it in the middle of nowhere? What does it have to do with it? There's no sort of relevance to anything. What was that about?
Was it in the first movie? I've been racking my brain trying to there was no reference to Juice Newton or anything like that. Or it was. I don't know, man. Nobody in the theater laughed at it too. It was a full theater, and I mean, I kind of chuckled at this, like just the "What the hell are you doing?" movie. But other than that, it was silence.
Yeah, so, our theater was empty anyway.
Any of the other like laughs in the film either, which is where it was just so strange.
It's supposed to be funny, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's got to be.
I blame Gary Dauberman for every bad bit in this film because The Nun is a masterwork, and I don't know how he dropped the ball with adapting something already written. So yeah. Anyway,
it's like it's the middle of a song. It's not like the line. It's like somebody turned the radio on during the scene and shit. Sorry,
It's like Edgar Wright directed the movie for 3.6 seconds. It's like,
yeah. It's just so random and like, what? How does that fit? Like, you're right, and you're thinking about it. You're like, wait, what? Why is that relevant? What are the lyrics? Did the lyrics make any? Nope. We got half a line. I don't know what is that.
And it was so briefly used too.
Did they even say the full line? Wasn't just don't call me angel. Did they even say it in the morning?
Yeah, I think we got enough. I think we got the line, just call me angel in the morning.
Okay. But I didn't have the baby.
Yeah, no, it was just really. I if you're telling me it's for comedy's sake, I have more questions. Why?
At this point in the edit for the podcast, I'm just going to start playing a random song for no reason. It's going to have nothing to do with anything, and we'll see how funny it is.
Cash rules everything around me. Money, dollar bills, y'all.
Oh, that's so good. Why? Oh, okay. I'm putting that on the list of things to. I'm trying to liven up the edits, do little things throughout. Fun.
So John, the song is "Just Call Me Angel in the Morning," and it comes in when the leper, right? The leper in the pharmacy basement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which also not in the movie.
Yeah,
excuse me, not in the book.
Yeah, little weird. Pukes on? Is that he throws up on him? Isn't that what happens?
And then, like, the puke lingers because he's dirty in his shirt where the puke was for the rest of the movie. So it wasn't just an hallucination. It had some foot in reality.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, the music doesn't match. Like I could understand if it were, like, music to match the trajectory of the vomit, but they're not in sync. It's just a really weird... The music, like, he starts throwing up, then the music comes on, and it doesn't stick. It's just really, really disjointing. I don't know.
Well, and I have to say, like, there's a little bit of like tongue in cheekiness to some of the other creature encounters. You know, whether it's Bunyan, whether it's Bevy's bit, whether it's
Bade the Blue Ox.
young Bevy's head on fire for Ben, which honestly, now that I think about it, that actually was a pretty significant bit for him trying to find his token, and his token was like the little postcard thing. But the only one that was played for just outright laughs, in my estimation, was Eddie's, and it befuddled me at the end of the day. It did not even match the slightly playful tone of any of the other ones. It just went for sheer slapstick, which is just so strange. And Cody is like, yeah, that's a song that they tried to make a thing in Deadpool, and it didn't even work there. So,
the opening credits of Deadpool 1. That's right. I knew I'd heard that in the movie recently. That's right. Okay, yeah, good point.
Oh yeah. Well, at least they used their budget up and played more of the song. I mean.
Right.
Damn.
The budget for this one was 65 to 70 from what I was reading. They didn't have it listed on IMDb, but it was listed on Wikipedia at least. But that's estimated. They don't know final numbers specifically. But
it's making money is the best way to put it.
Yeah,
it's making money.
Still double the previous budget of the 2017. But man, if only Fukunaga. I just wonder, because 2017's film was very, very close to his script. Even after the Doberman rewrites, it was still very, very close. And this one, obviously, Carrie had nothing to do with it. So,
Lindsey, did you give a number score? I'm sorry.
Oh, no, and I'll give you something in a second, but I just had a thought. Okay. What if they only played that fraction of the song because like the editor and the director loved the joke, but the producer's like, no, this is dumb. We're not doing this. We're not going to pay for the rights to that song. And so the editor and the director found the most of the song they could put in the movie without having to pay for the rights.
We pay by the minute, man.
No, you literally
probably do.
That's why, Happy Birthday. That's why you'll see Happy Birthday. They'll alter. They don't sing Happy Birthday to you. They'll alter it in movies because Happy Birthday. Every time that gets sung in a movie, regardless, every verse is $3,000. Happy Birthday to you.
Oh, that's not public domain. It's insane.
Michael Jackson bought it.
Was it Michael Jackson? He bought the Beatles.
Yeah. So, if not Michael Jackson, somebody famous bought the rights to Happy Birthday. So every time you try to sing Happy Birthday in a movie, A, you got to pay $3,000. B, it's going to the estate of Michael Jackson or a larger musician. I don't remember who it is. It should be public domain. You're right.
Interesting. John Steele in the chat, the angel in the morning is Lucifer. That is true. So maybe it's a weird reference as Pennywise is the devil. Sure, I'll go for that.
Wow, John, that's a reach. I'll take
I am
it.
down though, sir. If you want to like get into that like old school like the Old Testament stuff, let's go there. But if I was to give this movie a number score, I give it like, I don't know, 5 clown Tim Currys out of 8 Tim Currys from Home Alone 2. I hate doing numbers for stuff. It's an above average movie.
Credit card.
Exactly. Oh, he's so good in that movie. Tim Curry needs to be in every movie. Literally every movie.
No Clue, love? Really? Clue? Tim Curry and Clue? He's brilliant in that movie.
Yeah, okay. Well, if you want to nitpick my joke and like decide if the Tim Curry movies we could have gone.
I'm sorry.
Oh, man.
I didn't ruin your comedy joke, did I? I'm sorry.
You did ruin the comedy and the jokes, sir.
I always contend Legend, man. Legend is so goddamn cool. I mean, yeah. Anyway.
Well, it's interesting. So Fuego, you like it, you love it, but you still give it a 4. So that's
I mean, because it's still not the book, and the book is the best. And Cecil and I had a disagreement about the comparison aspects, which was very fair, and something that I conceded to him. And after further consideration, I was like, yeah, it's tough for me, but I agreed with his just urging of me to try to think as separately as possible. It's really difficult since I'm such a lover of the source material, but it's why I'm not going to reread Dr. Sleep before I go see this movie that comes out November 8th, because I know I would nitpick so much more so. So maybe, reflect afterwards about the differences, as opposed to, going in with all of these just like, pre-notched kind of conceptions and stuff. So
Manhammer AR-15, thank you for reminding me. I don't know if any of you guys got this on your trailer pack, but I got the Tenet teaser on the front of the new Nolan film.
Oh, how was it?
Did you guys not get that trailer?
I did not. No.
Fuego, that's a negative?
Tonight 2020? No, I don't believe so. I mean, I see the Manhammer mentioning it there, but
oh man, it's first of all, if you guys remember the Inception teaser.
Okay, yeah, vaguely.
It's confusing as all hell.
Is it Inception 2?
It felt Inception-y. It definitely, the teaser is Inception-ish.
Okay.
I remember leaning over because I was like, this is, and Emily, I swear, I wish she was awake. She could attest this. I'm like, Emily, this feels like Nolan-ish. And then sure enough, poof, the font from Christopher Nolan. I'm like, oh, it is Christopher Nolan.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a cracked like bulletproof glass. And there's a couple of shots of it, and then a black guy in like a mask or something, and then titles. I could be leaving 2 or 3 things out, but it was so vague that it really didn't stick out. I was so caught off guard by it that I don't know much about it. I know there's a dude in a mask. There's a crack in glass. And it's Christopher Nolan, and the word "time" was in one of the titles. In the teaser itself, so the theme of time is still a thing with Christopher Nolan, and a teaser which showed perhaps a little too little, has me fired up to no end.
So on IMDb, the plot is currently unknown. The project is described as an action epic revolving around international espionage, time travel, and evolution. Yeah, that sounds like Nolan.
Yeah. And it was like July. I'm like, July? We just had July. What do you mean July? What is this?
Which July do you speak of?
July? You screwed up. This is late. But yeah. So none of you have seen it. So it's what's funny is it's not on the internet. So I don't know why we got it, and then we got a quick not Suicide Squad. What is the Harley
Birds
Quinn?
Birds of Prey.
Yeah.
It's
Did
like
you guys
a little
get that?
teaser bit. No, I had somebody asking me, like, hey, at your screening, did they show that? And I was like, no, at the press screening, they showed two trailers. The first Joker trailer, not the final one, and they showed the first Doctor Sleep trailer, not the newer one that just debuted yesterday.
Oh,
So,
wow. Wow.
yeah.
So yeah, I feel really special. So they open the movie because it's Warner. You think
Which is why both of those.
yeah. So you have balloons and then Harley Quinn just takes a mallet to them, and you're like, for a split second, you're like, wait, what the? And it ends up being a quick little gotcha moment with Harley Quinn and whatever the name of that movie is, and then it chapter 2 starts.
That sounds interesting. I mean, again, my theater was having weird issues, so I don't even think they played trailers. I wish I'd seen those though. That sounds fun.
Yeah, no. If Tenet was available on the internet, I would have pre-rolled that absolutely. But
Okay.
it's not out there. I don't know.
Are you sure you're not talking about a movie starring David Tennant,
No,
directed by
because-
Christopher? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Because it was like the T and the T's were like, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it right. Tenay, maybe? Yeah, I don't know.
Tennant.
Maybe it's 10 and then backwards it's
Tenet.
I don't,
and now I'm thinking Zoolander, LeMay.
Always good time.
Yeah, so some news. We kind of mucked it up talking about it for so long. Where did I put the news? There's the news. So Face Off getting a remake.
Oh, boy.
If it's not them again, I am not interested.
Who's them?
I want Nicolas Cage and I want John Travolta. If it's anyone else, not interested.
I don't think John Travolta. If John Travolta will do it because it seems like he's taking any role here.
The Fanatic.
Yeah.
If word about the Fanatic is at all,
I almost paid to go see it because I just
Paid?
had to see it. Yeah, paid because it wasn't at an AMC. So I was like, well, okay.
bro,
Yeah, after Gotti.
Bro, my uncle.
Yeah.
It made like $3,000 its opening weekend because it did have a wide release and it made like a little
No.
over $3,000.
well, isn't
Well,
it?
I
Isn't
mean,
it Fred
wide
Durst
like
directed?
wide limited.
Fred
Yeah, I'm
Durst
assuming
directed?
Fred Durst was the big catalyst for people being like, nope.
Well, and John Travolta, Gotti did him zero favors. John Travolta, I don't know what the last movie I saw him in that was okay.
I have no idea.
I'm racking my brain as
Oh,
well.
Swordfish? Like, seriously, that's how long has it been since John Travolta's been in something that's okay, not even like good?
Just
Let us find out. Hair?
too,
Has he
and
been in
I'm
anything
confused.
good since Hairspray?
Oh, Hairspray
I liked
was
him in
like
Hairspray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that might count.
Yeah, but that was
Well, he
like,
had
what,
that-
15 years ago?
Yeah,
He had
that's
that
still
funny bit at the MTV Movie Awards recently, or the Music Awards recently, where
because he couldn't
you know,
pronounce Edidam
Menzel. Adele Dazeem or whatever she said.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of so many of these.
Yeah, no, there are a lot of I think Nicolas Cage and John Travolta probably could use the work because they're both doing similar films, maybe for the same reasons. Cast both of them back again because, could they need the work?
Was Savages good? I never saw it.
Savages. Oh, is that the
It's
drug
okay.
dealer movie?
It was the
Yeah.
Oliver Stone, yeah.
Yeah. Because if that was good, that might be the last good movie he did back in 2012.
Ugh.
You know, I must admit, I kind of liked In the Valley of Violence, the one with him and Tysa and
never
Ethan
saw it.
Hawke. I think he did that about like 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, that's listed here. I didn't see it, so I can't comment.
Yeah, he was the bad guy in it. He's definitely really made a time since Broken Arrow playing the bad guy, and I love Broken Arrow, man.
Dude, in the
That is a
chat,
great movie.
in the chat, it's Old Dogs, Punisher. To Paris with Love was somewhat recent, but Taking
Punisher,
of Pelham
Punisher.
1, 2, 3, like these are
I heard that
old
was good.
movies.
Yeah.
So it's been a while. Travolta.
Old Dogs and Taking a Pelham were both 2009. From Paris with Love was 2010.
Ugh. So
That was with him and the guy from the Tutors, right? I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a minute. It's been a minute. The guy needs to make better decisions.
I wonder if after Battlefield Earth he just struggled. Like, 'cause I'm looking at his like post 2000s career. Swordfish was pretty good. That's true.
You know what the problem is? He's got that creepy like fake hair thing that like his I don't know if it's drawn in, like he always has that weird hairline thing that like I don't know if he's thinning or he's got like tattooed on hair, but like he has that inhuman hairline thing that he's doing now, and it's just like what nobody's hairline is that perfect and all black. You look like a cartoon. What is that?
His picture on Wikipedia is from 2013.
As much as a lot of people hated the sequel to Get Shorty, I actually really liked it. So
Be Cool?
So there's that.
That's still 13, 14
Cool,
years ago. Yeah, and The Rock in a comedic role, which was one of the first.
Well, where they were all boasting about their SUVs and how little gas mileage they make, and how they're like, mine gets 4 miles a gallon. Yo, mine gets 3. I thought that was such a funny scene.
I never saw it, but wasn't he really? I heard really, really good things about him in The People versus O.J. Simpson.
Oh, okay.
I heard really good things about that. Yeah.
All right.
Did not see it. Yeah.
Television. I'll give you that. And still
he
not
played
a major
Shapiro.
motion.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm trying to give him a break here, and that's the best I can do.
I'm being told in the chat he's bald. Those are all wigs. That makes sense then.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah.
Get better looking wigs is my thing. I think the last thing I actually genuinely watched before Gotti start to finish was with Dennis in Denmark. There's a movie, a true story about people that do work on the lines, the electric lines. On poles, and apparently it's a really dangerous job, and something happened, and it got really weird. It was like inspired by Armageddon, but apparently it's a true story, and it's out there. It is out there. It is certainly one of those movies that it's probably in the dollar bin at Walmart right now if you want to go gamble. But yeah, so the writer is Orrin Uziel. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Uziel.
No idea what you're talking about.
Who wrote 22 Jump Street, The Cloverfield Paradox, and Freaks of Nature.
What's Freaks of Nature?
It was a romantic comedy of some sort, I want to say.
I think that's Forces of Nature. Freaks of Nature
that's
was
the one
like
I'm thinking of Ben Affleck and
Sandra Bullock.
Sandra Bullock.
Freaks of Nature is I want to say like a comedy thriller, kids in high school. I don't know. I've seen it like on a shelf. I know nothing more about it. I know Cloverfield Paradox sticks out like a sore thumb. That's all I know about that.
Freaks of Nature apparently had Mackenzie Davis, Joan Cusack, Keegan-Michael Key, Patton Oswalt, like Dennis Leary. Pretty extensive cast, and I've totally seen it in the bargin bin because presumably it was
it's got like the kid on the cover, right? Like
with
like bat or something?
the bat on it.
Yep. Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it on a shelf. I just never thought to pick it up.
Apparently the film follows 3 high school outcasts whose social alienation is compounded when they join rival species in a town inhabited by humans, vampires, and zombies.
Yes.
Well, there you go.
Travis, the
movie it sounds like something on the Freeform or Disney Plus or whatever. So anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. So
this guy has a crazy IMDb. The first things he ever we're talking. Just make sure I'm talking about the same guy here. Orrin Uziel. That's what we're talking about. So the first things he ever wrote was like Mortal Kombat Rebirth and Legacy shorts. You remember those from like 10, 11 years ago?
Where the guy owned the first one. The first one, the teaser was great too. Where Raphael's like eating the stuff out of the trash and everything. And
yeah, you got freaking what's her name from Voyager in there? Sonya Blade.
Jerry Ryan, right?
Jerry Ryan, that's it. Yeah. Those were fun. So he started with that. Then he did 22 Jump Street, and then the couple things I never really heard of. Then Cloverfield Paradox, and now he just wrote Sonic the Hedgehog. Apparently, he's writing the script for a Supergirl movie, and apparently he's writing Detective Pikachu 2. So now I'm not excited for Detective Pikachu 2.
What?
He's somehow finding a lot of work, though. Wow.
Yeah.
Sonic the Hedgehog. What on earth?
Yeah. Talk about all over the place.
All right, so it's another bit of news. Bad Education. I don't
give a bad about your damn education, man.
Yeah,
Okay,
you just mixed the lyrics up. It's fine.
I think I mixed the Pink Floyd.
So there's.
You can't see this movie if you don't eat your meat.
The Bad Education film premiered at TIFF, and it's a Hugh Jackman film about a school superintendent or a higher up at a school embezzling, and there was a bit of drama that sparked at the Q&A at TIFF because there was some touchy questions in light of the Felicity Huffman news. And apparently some people didn't take too kindly to it. And I guess my question to you guys is, do you think Hollywood's a little too sensitive, especially when they're a little heavy on the hypocrisy?
This is one that I mean...
Are you going to sit this one out?
I don't want to go into Dino territory or anything, but
no, well,
I think Hollywood is insanely sensitive. But it's not just Hollywood, though. It's just like the mass public in general at this point. We've really just given so much credence to... It's almost like an over-tolerance aspect to the degree where people can't have opinions, and... Granted, there's a lot of really shitty opinions. It's like everyone has an opinion and they all stink. It's like assholes or whatever.
Sure, but the problem is Hollywood's always about wagging its finger about, here's the right thing to do. You should be a better human. And you know what? All right, so some of your representation there really screwed the pooch, and did some illegal stuff, and now you're gonna get a little sensitive about some of your art that imitates life, which actually is represented by some artists.
Well, maybe we need to rewind a bit here. So Felicity Huffman was the chick who cheated to get her daughter into college.
Yeah, she
right?
paid to
just a bunch of money to get. Yeah. Okay.
So was she in the thing with Lori Loughlin or whatever from?
That's the same deal.
Bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So what's the recent news then? What recently happened?
Just that this Bad Education film covers a very similar topic.
Oh, okay.
Hugh Jackman is a school superintendent who embezzles money.
Oh, okay.
And so the Q&A got apparently a little touchy.
I'd say that's great casting. She's living a role well or something.
No. Felicity Huffman is not in the film.
Oh,
okay. They just,
Hugh Jackman,
for whatever reason, got to the topic of her in the Q&A?
In the Q&A, apparently the questions were asked, do you think that this is proper timing, a release of this movie in light of the Felicity Huffman news, who's about to get sentenced within 2 or 3 days for her bribery thing.
Good.
So are they implying they should have taken like the The Hunt or whatever it was, the one that recently like they should have taken the same approach because of timeliness here?
Well, this is why I'm upset that The Hunt got pulled, man. Just because people get upset about you don't go. I mean, like, push it back. Yeah, the shootings were bad, and you don't want to release a movie like that right around a shooting. I totally get that, and I do agree with that too. But you don't just cancel a movie.
You can't make movies anymore if you're gonna not release them when shootings happen, because they happen quite a bit.
Because they totally timed this sort of thing too, right?
Well, you remember back when Kick-Ass 2 came out and Jim Carrey, right before the release, got all butthurt. I mean, and rightfully so. I shouldn't say butthurt. That implies that he's in the wrong. But, he got upset because of the shootings, and he didn't want to be in violent movies anymore because of the shootings. And I get that, but it's like, dude, the movie's made. It's about to come out. Like, it's a little late to suddenly, be... I mean, I get it. You want to come out, you want to have a difficult discussion, you want to talk about the movies that you're in and what they represent and what that means in our greater culture and all that. And I agree with that, but it's, you don't cancel the interview because people threaten to do something bad. Listen, has to be let to be art. Go ahead.
Every year at the Oscars, it seems like, retelling the world where we should be socially. And you know what? If you want to get real deep with the topics that you're so advanced with your art, then you better pull up a chair and eat your shit if you're going to be the one who's doing the wrong thing and
truly, because there is an aspect of almost like you're lecturing a collective of children with that sort of,
and don't be a hypocrite. How about shut the hell up? Either let the movie come out. Yeah, exactly. I just think it's funny that no, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't tell us how to do things, and then when one of your own or a couple of your own screw up, then be like, well, this is a little sensitive. Oh, is it? No, I don't think so. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I can't. Yeah, I agree with you there. I don't know.
I have heard good things about the movie.
I've heard it's good.
No, I'm sure it's good. Jackman chooses good projects. He's usually somewhat choosy.
Aside from the one where he was the vice president, the '88 election, I want to say the cheating guy. I never got around to seeing it, but I heard that.
If you watch it at home, it's a nice rental.
I do want to see that. What was that, like Runaway or something like that, or
Candidate or the Running Man or
Runner Up maybe?
Runner Up. That's what it is.
Could be. I don't know. Running Wolverine Part 6.
It's actually just called.
Yeah, I am sick of running. I want to just do regular movies now.
Can I please eat pizza?
I'm sick of the treadmill. My God.
Well,
can't I just sing and go on tour instead?
I guess we'll stay on the sensitive topic because Kristen Stewart came out. She says she wants a gay superhero, and she wants to be that gay superhero.
Was that what happened?
We already have one. It's called Batgirl, and it's Ruby Rose or whatever, and she's playing her, and so there you go.
Wait, but I thought someone else said to Kristen that if you were less open about being gay, then you might get something like a Marvel movie. I thought that's what
that was the controversial sentiment, where they were like, if you want to play in this playground, and she was just like, I don't give a crap. So
I thought she was kind of a badass for saying like, I don't care, I'm gonna do my own thing. And
maybe I'm a personal shopper in weird movies like that. So
wait, so fill me in. Do I have an excerpt of a quote? I have a misquote. Is that what I have here?
Well,
Kristen Stewart wants a gay superhero and wants to be that superhero. Is
Stewart?
It was in Variety, the ever so reliable Variety.
yeah, exactly. Variety and Deadline and THR, the unholy trinity of movie information, and they claim to be the most reliable of all. So it's funny.
Yeah.
I guess from Entertainment Weekly, in a recent interview, is it? I don't know. Kristen Stewart revealed that she was once told if she didn't flaunt her relationship with women, she'd likely get a Marvel movie. Once told, that makes sense. Like maybe like on the tail end of like Twilight and stuff like that. That would make sense. She was more or less on top of the world, but she was like, I mean, no offense towards her, but she did sleep with the director, who was married to someone. So, maybe like there was like the point of the discussion at the time was, hey, if you want these bigger movies with things like Marvel and Disney, maybe you just need to change your public persona and stuff like that. But
she's got Twilight money. What the hell does she care about that stuff?
Also a male director, by the way. So keep that in mind.
Well, no, she's bisexual.
She's very obviously bisexual. Which is. Yeah, that's her thing.
But it does go on to say that now she wants to do one better and play a gay superhero. So I'm not sure. It's complicated. Here. There's been a conversation that's always existed, Stewart says. I've always radically rejected it. It's nice to be able to talk about that in a way that people really understand now, instead of sounding like I'm being crazy, like, don't put me in a box. Ambiguity is a cool thing. Now it's like, duh, before I had to say it like it was some far out idea. Now it's more on the main stage, which is rad. She then explains that she only name checked Marvel previously because it was literally just a big conglomerate type thing.
Oh, I like that she says rad.
Yeah, she sounds like she's got a very interesting way of talking.
Hey, I say rad status all the time, man. That's like one of my stupid go-tos. So
Yeah. Shouldn't characters just be characters? I mean, like, if you're shoehorning something, like what would when I think of Batman, I don't think of him as straight. I think of him as a person who's saving Gotham. When I think of Superman, I think of him as saving the world. Spider, like I realize that they're all straight characters, but I don't really. When I think of them, the first thing I think of isn't, oh yeah, who are they sexually into?
Agreed.
They're characters. The characters' interests or sexual choices or any types of choices, shouldn't those be tertiary decisions when making a movie?
China is super anti-gay, which is why there really hasn't been that much gay stuff in the Marvel movies to date. So maybe putting like an openly gay actor in a movie would lead to lesser box office.
Oh, I mean,
what was that?
Sorry, I'm sorry. I was just saying they barely let straight people have kids for all those years. So I mean,
one. That's it.
Yeah, that's true too. And here, maybe this is where some of the confusion is coming from. She was doing an interview with Anthony Mackie. The two of them are in a movie coming up, I guess. I guess Mackie wondered aloud what kind of superhero Stewart should play, and she just kind of cut him off and just said, a gay one. Oh, and then apparently she struck like a superhero pose as a joke.
I see.
And Anthony Mackie says, I think she should play a gay female Falcon Captain America.
And here we are on the internet making a big deal of a quip and feeding right into it. Oops.
Like maybe there's something I'm missing, but that seems to be what it is.
Yeah, something that was said in passing, and yep, you got me. Let me pull this hook out of my cheek. Excuse me. But
or the nice side of your cheek, Eddie in the movie the other day.
No, I mean,
I could totally talk. I could totally talk.
Well, on a similar subject, you got Scarlett Johansson, who's been constantly trying to shove her foot further and further and further down her mouth. And for anyone that I did not mean that in any way, get your mind out of the gutter. She said recently that she still supports Woody Allen and would still work with him again.
I thought that was interesting too. Yeah, I love Matchpoint though. Matchpoint's so good.
She's a great actress. He's a great director. They should make good things together. It makes sense, but with the discussions around him lately and all the other things she's saying, was this really the time to say that? Scarlett, you're making yourself unmarketable.
It goes back to the hypocrisy thing. And yes, Scarlett Johansson has just been like a magnet for these kind of topics. You could say that about me with YouTube lately.
And she's the highest paid actress in the world, and she's complaining. Look, there's issues, they need to be addressed, but you're doing okay. The world doesn't need your tree. We don't need the Scarlet Groot Hansen, okay? We'll live without it.
Well, I mean, her and Brie Larson can figure it out, right? So.
Well, the making a gay superhero kind of plays into our complaints about the faith-based films where it's message first and then story, and they're not very story.
Well, it would entirely depend on how it's handled. Like in Deadpool 2, you got that really cute lesbian relationship with and it's never addressed.
Doesn't matter.
It's just a
Doesn't
thing.
Matter.
If you do that in a Marvel movie, hell yeah.
Sure.
I loved in Endgame how they had that one scene where with Captain America,
made a big deal of it in the counseling session, right?
Yeah, that was I mean, it's a little funny that it was the director who's not gay that did it, and I was like, oh, okay, that's another discussion to have at another time. But I thought that was a cute little scene, and you don't
something in passing.
There's a difference between doing something subtly, so it gets the audience to go, oh, okay, that's interesting, and then grabbing Thor's hammer and smashing it in. You don't need a gay superhero being like, I will stand up for those who. I don't know. I don't want to get into it. It's because then I'm going to sound like I'm the asshole, and I don't want representation, and I do want representation. Right. I just want clever representation, and I don't know why that's so hard to do.
That's been my point. Listen, I'm with you. You get your message across, but first make me a good movie, and then you can. It's just like you said. Deadpool 2, they're
Knocked it out of the
lesbians.
park.
They're lesbians.
Yeah.
And I literally forgot about it. And it didn't bother me. But it wasn't like, here's a spotlight.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, and the other thing, in the reverse thing, like what Disney did with Beauty and the Beast, like, oh, hey guys, we're gonna have our first openly gay Disney character, and then it's just LeFou dancing with a guy for like 2 seconds, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like, just do it or don't, and just do it smartly.
Yeah. I think Hollywood just needs to shut up a little bit. Maybe that. Just make movies. How about that? Make good movies. Yes. Get a feel of where the pulse is on the world, and
you
and
always
then go in
have
that
some
direction.
level of politics in films. People that are like, oh, politics, blah, blah. The movies you'll get if you completely remove politics from every movie ever are shit.
Yeah, they'll be vanilla as hell and very boring.
Dude,
like, do you remember in Saturday Night Live when Donald Trump hosted right before he got elected president, and it was just standing around being like, oh, yes, everything is great and wonderful as me, and it's just not funny and it's painful and you want to turn it off, but you can't because it's a train wreck? That is what movies and art will become if you completely suck politics out of it.
Well, dude, how would Back to the Future get made today?
Really awesome.
It wouldn't. Because you explain Marty and Doc's relationship. How the hell did they meet? Some old scientist hanging out with a high school kid. The high school kid who has his mom into him.
You have the poster right behind you.
but I'm saying, how would Hollywood? You wouldn't be able to make that movie today. They'd have to somehow explain it, and him going back in time and.
He was helping him with his like guitar amp or something, He was doing some work for him, and then he was just interested in all of his other work. I don't know.
And it's something that suddenly would need to be explained, and it didn't need to be explained back then. And again, his mom wanted to make out with him, and there's
well, that wasn't too far after Empire. Remember that the '80s were kind of a weird time, man. Like,
some of the best movies are in the '80s. That's kind of my point.
You're not wrong about that. We're talking about two of the best movies ever made now: Empire Strikes Back and Back to the Future. Back is part of a title if you want it to be good.
Maybe not worry so much about what the.
Well, I mean, there was a comment that we saw, like, really at the beginning of all this when we were still talking it, and not to, jump totally back into that.
Sorry, no, it's fine.
But it was one of our, joiners in here, listener peeps, that was saying, I'm gay, and I still felt like it was forcing the hand with the Richie aspect, and so it has to fit the narrative. It has to be in the midst of a film where the context makes sense, where it doesn't feel like it's in there just to appease or appeal to a specific demographic or whatever. That's where just the context of screenwriting is so important, and having everything feel natural and feel real. And it's some of these scenarios where maybe it's better to leave it ambiguous, I guess.
Yeah. No, Emily did say the same thing too, actually. Emily who identifies as, I would assume, bi, who identified
you
as
married a lesbian.
So she on the way, she was like, was it just me, or did you get like a really major gay thing from that? And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I kind of did, but because her radar's a little off, because I don't know, but she noticed it and thought it was a little much, and so go ahead, Lindsey. I'm sorry I cut you off.
No, it's fine. We're always talking over each other here because we're always so eager to make our points because we're always having so much fun.
Yes, movies.
So the Tozier stuff with Bill Hader was some of my favorite in the movie because it was like the only of those token scenes that actually added something to the movie. Like it actually it gave his character an extra little spice. Whereas like the Bev one, we learned that there was a dude in town that was named Pennywise and he was a clown, but we don't, like, it's like, okay, interesting, but where are you going with that? Oh, nowhere? Okay. With the Ben one, now that I remember what it is, like, oh, he was in school and he was the fat kid and he liked Bev. Okay, I already knew that. The Bill one, oh, his brother got killed by Georgie. Okay, we already knew that. Maybe this is him symbolically remembering that. But you know what I mean? Like, it was the only one of those that like actually added something to the movie as opposed to like just being a true repeat. But but then at the same time, because they didn't really do much with it outside of hint implying that Richie was in love with Eddie. Like, which they've got a lot of great banter. Some of the best moments in the movie are those two characters bantering off of each other. But I don't know. Maybe I just feel like there should have been a bigger payoff for that moment, even though. I don't know. See, that's this movie, man. I like it and I want to like it, but then it's so easy to not like it. Like,
yeah. Yeah, there's like 2 or 3 movies, maybe more, from this summer that I'm like, all right, hurry up and come out on digital and home media so I can refresh my thought process before I give my 2019 list, because I definitely want to see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood again. Yeah. It is definitely on that list where I'd like to see it in an environment where I can maybe pause and stand and stretch for a second, and there was another one too that I really want to give a second watch, and it's slipping me for some reason. But yeah, go enjoy your wide receiverless Raiders, Felix.
Ooh,
sorry for
shots
your loss.
fired.
Ooh, shots fired indeed.
Yeah, Antonio Brown. Yeah.
Talk about
and they're shouting out Adventureland in the chat. I have to shout out Adventureland. I really like
love
movie.
Adventureland.
I live by the actual Adventureland.
Oh, really?
That's based on a Adventureland in Long Island. Yeah,
Oh,
even
I
though
didn't
it takes
know that.
place in Pittsburgh. Yeah. Yeah.
Is Hader in that, if I remember correctly?
Yes.
He
is.
is.
Oh, yeah, he is. Yeah.
That's right. That was the movie that put him on the map for me.
Oh, dude, he's in other stuff before that.
Oh yeah, no, I know. I mean, I went back and found it afterwards, but when I watched it, I was like, "Oh, who's this guy?" And I went and watched more of his stuff. Yeah, that's an underrated movie.
Yeah, as far as 80s and like 80s set coming of age stuff, I love that movie.
Yeah. That's a good time. So we've hit an hour and a half ridiculously without any much of a pre-roll too. So
I don't need to go run to the toilet this time, guys.
Yeah, so the releases this weekend, I'm dead air. So the Goldfinch and Hustlers, anybody?
Goldfinch, everybody is railing on, saying it is absolute garbage.
Okay.
It was trending on Twitter about how bad it was. It's
what is it?
So I know it has Nicole Kidman. It has this fat cast, which is probably one of the reasons why everybody is just being so negative about it. Oh goodness, who else is in it? I need to honestly double check. But I know also we have the J-Lo movie this weekend too, the one with her and where there's strippers taking place in New York. It's called Hustlers, I want to say.
Yeah.
Yes.
For the record,
Hustlers.
Goldfinch does have a great cast. Ansel Elgort, Finn Wolfhard. That's some good people.
No, that's about the one, I believe, where the kid, he's in like a bomb attack and his mother dies, and then it flashes forward to him as an adult and how he's kind of like at least like about to be an adult, and how he's still dealing with all the repercussions from this terrorist attack he found himself caught in the midst of.
Oh, good. And it's coming out
on September 11th.
2 days after
it's not
9/11.
coming out in November, December, or January for Oscar consideration. They're dumping it.
So. Well, they could have dumped it a week later or whatever. It's about a terrorist attack, and it's coming out on 9/13.
No, 9/11 is Wednesday, and Thursday 9/12 there will be screenings for this movie.
Okay, so they are going for that sort of poignant positioning. Theodore Decker was 13 years old when his mother was killed in a bombing at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York. The tragedy changes the course of his life, sending him on a stirring odyssey of grief and guilt, reinvention and redemption, and even love.
Yuck.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Sounds very pandering, based on a Pulitzer Prize fiction novel.
Well, and then you have the other end of the spectrum. Glitter came out the week after 9/11, when 9/11 happened. So I don't know which direction would you rather go in, I guess. And Glitter was awful.
Oh God, Jeffrey Wright is in Goldfinch. I love Jeffrey Wright.
I'm just waiting for Ad Astra. Comes out on my birthday. I can't wait. So.
Oh, I was so disappointed when I saw the full trailer for that movie, and it was definitively not a flat Earth conspiracy movie. It just looks less interesting now that I know that it's not about my weird obsession.
Need Gore in the chat says, I get paid on 9/11. Bittersweet. Yeah, can't help when you get your paycheck. That's
yeah,
it just happens. Hustlers, nothing, anything, nothing, anything.
I know nothing about it. I'll look it up right now, but I know.
So Jennifer Lopez, Constance Wu. Yeah, I've heard it's about, Jennifer, like
Oh,
J-Lo
strippers,
basically
right.
mentoring a younger stripper who's trying to learn about the industry. That's about all I know. I had press invites for it. I was like,
No.
no,
Oh yeah, I think I do
can't.
too. I can
Yeah.
go tomorrow if I want, but unless I get a verified J-Lo authentic
Ta-
scene, maybe
Ta-ta reveal of some
yeah.
sort. Yeah.
I'm trying to find out if it's rated R and it's about strippers. So hey,
Yeah,
good for
no,
them.
there can be a bunch of other people that J-Lo could be too old for this shit and maybe not.
And I'm trying to
And
think. I mean, was one of the only times the Oliver Stone movie that we even saw like a brief glimpse? I think that was the extent of it, if I
U-turn,
recall.
right?
Oh.
Well, my favorite movie of all time,
I mean,
Kin,
nothing.
spends about 25 minutes in a strip club, and it's a PG-13 movie. So, yeah, just let that bubble in your head. 25 minutes in PG-13 stripper club.
All
It's
right,
a great film.
so
It must
it
have been
chapter
after
2.
hours with the little things on the nipples or whatever, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
So it chapter 2 is probably gonna make 40
Yeah,
40
I'd
million
say
comfortably.
30 to 40.
30 to
it's probably
40, right?
fair to assess.
I'd say 45.
It's just in half, huh? 50% drop.
Yeah.
Word of mouth, I think, is gonna hurt this.
That's what I think is going to continue to derail this from having similar success. But the word of mouth in non-main English-speaking countries is going to propel it even further. So this is one
Yeah.
where there's going to be much more of a box office despondency in the international, areas in comparison with the domestic market. So
Yeah, what's the total domestic from it chapter 1? Was it 345? 3 and change?
I was thinking of the
Go ahead,
domestically. I
I'm
don't know. Yeah, I think it was 700 something.
Worldwide was 700.
Right? Yeah.
It's well, come on. There you go.
Come out. Yeah.
Okay, come on, guys. Yeah, come on, guys. 327. So it was actually pretty close to being a dead even split. 327 to 372. That's pretty close.
Yes, so 327, and its opening weekend was 123, so it made more than a third opening weekend. So,
I think this might actually make more money, like completely internationally and everything, than the previous one, but definitely not going to happen domestically.
yeah, I'm wondering, does it hit 200 domestic?
Yeah, it'll hit 200 domestic, I think.
In total lifespan, yeah, maybe.
It might be like a crawl to get to that big 200, but it'll get there.
This week it should be no problem. What's 2 weeks from now?
Ad Astra, and
Yeah.
then oh boy, there's one other notable one. I already closed
October
that
gets a
up.
little sloppy.
Oh, we've got Joker. We've got
Uh-huh.
which, hey, Joker guys won top prize at Venice. There's a
did.
lot of buzz about this movie at this particular point.
Yep.
That
Oscars.
is
see.
a very good point. It's going to be interesting. Are we going to get a second actor to win an Oscar playing the Joker?
Could it happen?
I mean, that'd be
Wow.
pretty
Wow,
cool.
we're doing that already, huh?
I mean,
Okay.
I don't know. I'm
Lots
still
of
worried.
people are speculating already
Dude.
about it.
Every time I hear about something doing something insane at some festival, I always bring this stat up. Clerks 2,
Standing ovation.
16-minute standing ovation at Cannes. Clerks 2.
Do they
Yeah.
do they time it? Do they clock
Yeah,
it? How do
they're
they
like,
know?
"No,
Do
we
they
gotta
have a
keep
guy?
going." Yeah, that's a good point.
And,
I
how
think
many
I've-
people are still clapping after 16 minutes? Like, are 3 people still clapping? Does that count? Is it one person who's just been clapping for 8 minutes? Do they get the full 8 minutes? Like,
You know,
what?
It is weird. It is weird. Listen, I'm gonna relate this to my career, but it's in no way relatable. As a comedian, you base your stage set on timing. Like mentally, you're supposed to have like a 2 to 3 second timer for laughs, because you don't want to talk over somebody's laughing as a comedian. So I don't know ovations like that. How would, I mean, granted it's a movie and what the movie's over, but like, how do you prepare for that? Like, in a live performance experience, there's a bit of a, okay, we're done, whatever. I've had standing ovations before, but it's been seconds. I don't know, like how much what Why is there a time past 15 seconds? Like, okay, you're standing and clapping. It's.
Are they rounding up? Are they rounding down? Is it a hard, like, at 16 minutes everyone sat down,
But dude,
or was
like,
it 15:45?
At a certain point, like what do you, after like 2 minutes, like what are you doing at that point? Because it's just like, okay, like what.
Everyone who's still standing at 5 minutes gets a hot dog. Everyone still standing at 10 minutes gets 2 hot dogs.
And
like,
you get 2 hot dogs, and you get 3 hot dogs.
I'm wondering if maybe it's just like people want to stop, but because there's still noise, it's just like, oh.
They actually have electric spikes stick up from the seat, so everyone who tries to sit down gets poked and shocked. So they must stand back up again, and so they're like, "Oh, I guess I'll just keep clapping."
That must have been the case during Clerks 2, because, dude, I mean, guys, the original Clerks is my favorite movie. It's like side by side with Aliens, the second one, James Cameron, and those are my 2 favorite movies of all time.
I love how different those are. That's beautiful.
I hate Clerks 2. I
Well,
think that movie
camera.
is.
He
I
finally
think
moved
that
the
movie.
Camera.
Finally, I mean, he tried to do that with Cop Out and with a few other ones too. And I mean, I hate Clerks 2. It was no way in spirit like the original film, and yet that's where you're so far removed in your career. How can you? I mean, it was like the Clerks equivalent of Yoga Hosers. So I don't.
I like Yoga Hosers.
Wow.
I know I'm the only person in the world.
Yes,
I know I'm the only
Lindsey?
person who does.
I could not stand Yoga.
What is that Bible thumper movie that he made? That was kind of thrillery. That was
where
awesome.
he went to make a horror
Red
movie,
State.
Red State. Yeah,
Red
that's
State's his last really good movie, in my opinion.
I still even like the whole "Don't Go Full Tusk" movie, man. You know, you never go full Tusk, bro.
No, the first third is good, and then it's just like, wait, what do you? Okay.
The end made me feel strange and sad, I must admit.
I'll clarify my like of Yoga Hosers with I saw it at a Screen Junkies event at Comic-Con, and Kevin Smith was there, and he introduced it, and I got to hear him talk about it a bit, and he told a story about the time that he held a screening like this for Yoga Hosers, and one guy just adamantly hated the movie to the point where just Kevin Smith's like, here, man, here's just like $50. Like, will that make it better? Like, that you watched my bad movie, does that make you feel better?
It would make me feel better. Shit.
I don't know. I just thought that was a funny story. It endeared him to me in that moment.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. No, he's a good dude.
Yeah.
You listen to him talk, I'm a fan of the guy. He just his work is a little funky sometimes. That's all.
He just doesn't really make good movies anymore. At this point, I kind of prefer to watch his pop culture observations on his YouTube channel.
Yes. Him talk about Star Wars and how he gets to tour the set and all that fun stuff.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, we get to live through him as a Star Wars fan. But yeah, his work almost seems like him and Rob Zombie just seem to be like the two of them are taking fans' money, and it almost seems like, hey, watch what I can do. Let's see if I can get away with doing this. And I
can make $20 million.
Yeah, guys, I want to make a movie, and they're like, here, take money to do it, and it's just like, I was high when I wrote it, and here it is. Here's,
And I think we're actually skipping 3 from Hell this weekend because the rest of the gang is going out to cover Halloween Horror Nights, and I have my guitar player's birthday, and we're trying to finish this song for a short that's about to be announced very soon. CP knows what's going on with it. My band and I are finishing doing overdubs and tracking some stuff. So I will not be going along with that, but we are. I'm assuming not going to be going to one of those Fathom events that is all up Rob Zombies, stink hole. So.
It's a Fathom event. It's not even a.
Yeah, and there's 3 of them, so there's a different bit of bonus information for each showing. So it's a 3-night event, I think the 16th through the 18th, and so there's one night that has a special Rob Zombie introduction. There's another night that has extensive behind-the-scenes stuff afterwards, and then there's a third evening that has some other little, kind of gimmicky bit of additional aspect to it that I can't recall offhand. But
every third time, I think I've gone to 9 Fathom events, and 3 times the audio has been shit. So I don't know what it is about Fathom events, but I don't know if they're like on a satellite feed or something with those Fathom events, but like it 33% of the time for me, my personal experience, and these are different theaters, mind you. The sound is shit, and well, I don't know if you know you have an orchestra and some crazy Dolby Atmos in a Rob Zombie film, but it's really. First, it took him 2 goes to get 31 made. He needed 2 rounds of crowdfunding.
That's always a good sign. That's always a good sign. Wow.
And now he can't get his movie into theaters.
No. Well, aside from dude doing that great voiceover at the beginning, he was apparently stepping in for the Sid Haig character in this new 3 from Hell. I could not stand 31. It felt like Rob Zombie trying to make a Rob Zombie movie it was like very much fan service. It was almost like a greatest hits record to that equivalent for me, as opposed to doing a brilliant new inspired album from your favorite band. It was like, oh, here's a greatest hits record. It's got 2 new songs and they're okay.
Rob Zombie's got something. I just want him to stop writing Rob Zombie. Like I want to see a really good writer write something for Rob Zombie, because there's moments. Rob Zombie has moments in his movies where it's like, oh, if you could just do more of this little 5 minutes here and make a movie of it. Like if you take a bunch of pieces of all of his movies and put them together, you probably have a solid movie there. But I agree.
There's a lot of directors you could say that about. Like I'd say that about M. Night. Desperate, like seriously, somebody give M. Night a script that someone else wrote and you can't change it. You can't change it.
That joke that he had ghostwriters and he didn't even write his own scripts for a lot of this stuff, but who the hell knows, right?
I mean, that's possible.
Is that the joke when he was making garbage? Because that would make more sense.
The Happening and
remember
like
Split was written 15 years ago, and then he goes and writes Glass, and it's like blah.
Yeah, Glass was one of my biggest disappointments of the year, I must admit.
Yeah, but so that does it for this week's episode. Which I think next week, I don't know if any of you guys are going to catch any of the new releases. We might be furthering the discussion on it.
We're going to talk about how it made $200 million in its second weekend. Or not.
Or if it does something exciting. I mean, I have 0 plans on catching Goldfinch and Hustlers unless I hear word of some accidental.
Well, if Goldfinch is as bad as everyone's saying it is, I'll see it out of sheer curiosity.
I'll tell you what. If you want to watch something bad this week and talk about it next week, I say we all do homework and go watch the latest Fred Durst classic, starring John Travolta.
I almost saw it a few days ago. Yeah, just because I wanted to see how much of a train fire of insanity it was. So.
I'd rather discuss that, to be honest with you, because it's sort of like it already has an internet presence.
Interesting. It's this year's Gotti, maybe.
Yeah, Travolta. That's what you want to be known for, making every year's worst movie.
Yeah. I mean, nothing's going to be worse than Unplanned, and Unplanned came out this year. Just remember that.
I don't know. The Beach Bum also came out this year, so
that's true. Actually, Serenity came out too.
And so the 2
McConaughey
worst movies
having a
I've
bad
seen
year.
this year. My God, those movies were both such shit. Ugh.
So the reconnaissance is over, I guess, or
at least it's on hold for now.
Yeah, he skipped a year. There you go.
Yeah.
It's his cheat year.
Yeah, but if you're up for it, I'll go suffer through what's it called? What's it called? The Fanatic, something like that, right?
The Fanatic,
Something
correct?
like that,
yeah.
yeah.
Devon Sawa is the role that intrigues me a little bit more so, since he's been kind of getting back into acting after an extensive hiatus. So.
Maurice the Beast vlogs in the super chat with $1. Thank you so much, Maurice. We appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Yeah,
man.
Yeah. So if you guys are able to squeeze it in,
The Fanatic. I'll see what I can do.
Maybe it'll be a heavy week. Maybe it'll be a heavy news week, and that. But if we can somehow squeeze in the Fanatic, otherwise it might be a really short show next week.
There's a part of me that wants to go watch the Goldfinch, and with my A-list I might, just for the sheer fact that I thought the trailers looked good. And I mean, despite pandering and kind of pretentious and stuff, and with the cast especially, I was like, I have to, at least at this point, perhaps, and verify if it's as terrible as all the critics are slogging it for it. So,
yeah, which will be relevant for the show. So, there's that. But Lindsey, If you're down, I'm down to
Cool.
go sit through some torture.
Cool.
It's John Travolta star torture. Anything to report as far as your channel, Lindsey?
No, nothing right now.
Okay. Fuego.
Yeah, lots of cool stuff we did for the horror show this past weekend. I mean, there's more It coverage than Cartman could beat over the head with a stick.
You say
We have a non-spoiler. We have a spoiler. We also have a live stream that we did just yesterday, which, despite being fragmented in
Did
a
he
strange
clean it up?
variety.
Because there was like 4 pieces when I last saw it online.
That's what I was curious. I have yet to look since all of that was going down yesterday evening, but at least the bulk of the back half on the final one that we did, we had a terrific It cosplayer girl who was on there, and Pennywise is technically a woman, as is verified in the book, or at least female. So that was cool. We did a Dr. Sleep trailer reaction today. If you have interest in thoughts about the final trailer for the Shining sequel that comes out November 8th. And beyond that, the rest of the gang is going to be out of town this weekend, and so I'm going to catch up on some Infotainment stuff and finish tracking this super secret theme song, which has been a lot of fun to write. So,
Ooh, that sounds exciting.
So for patrons and those of you who aren't patrons, you're welcome. Sneak peek. Emily and I did our vlog for our trip to see It Chapter 2. That's up as of this morning. You're gonna get some. You might get 2 pieces of Friday the 13th related material from me on this channel. I don't know. It all one of them really depends on what Womp Stomp has to say publicly.
Oh.
Friday the 13th is a holiday for me, and you'll get something from me here. At least one thing from me here on Friday the 13th. And then it's the premiere of the Autop stream featuring myself, Cody Leach, and Brian Lomax, which will be over on Cody Leach's channel at, I believe, 6 p.m. Eastern. Same gang, new boss, I guess is the best way to put it.
Interesting.
So be
Same
sure
as
to
the
check
old
that.
boss.
Yeah.
In this case, not at all. So.
Come on, I had to get the Who reference in there.
I love that song, though.
Yeah. All right. So we'll thanks for joining us. Thanks again to Maurice. We will see you next week or at another time.
I will see you in 5 million minutes.
Hasta
luego. I'll see you if you watch more It stuff.